There's a grandmother over there named Wabuguni Ikwe, White Flower Woman. That's my grandma, and I'm the carrier of that drum. Not my drum, that's your drum. I only carry it for you guys. And Anishnawbe asking nation traditional drum. That's sitting right there. It's always good to have that, that balance. It's good that there's two drums here. I'm still just kind of waiting on some people that are coming. You know what? We're just going to get started. That's okay. So like I told the small crowd that was here earlier, I'm not doing anything until I get my candy. Where's my candy? Other day.
You missed it when I brought it.
So to honor this gift, I'm going to start talking now. You guys like my ribbon shirt? Walmart. So some of the things that I'm going to be talking about, it might get a little bit heavy. You guys obviously already know that I like to joke around. I like to have fun. But a lot of the things that I'm going to be talking about right now are very serious. And if anyone, youth, elder, whatever, feel triggered, because I tell my story, but very honestly, very openly, and in detail too. And it's not my intention to ever hurt anybody, but if somebody comes up with their own feeling in any way with some of those things, there are people here, right?
Yeah.
There are people here, but also at the same time.
In the black vests.
In the black vests, yeah. In the black vests. So those of you guys that if you just need somebody to talk to, need somebody to listen, or if you just want to, whatever, right? That those people, that's what they're here for. But also at the same time, if you don't want anyone to hear you, any living person to hear you, but you also want to release some of that, there are two drums here that you can sit to and talk to as well. And I know for some people that might sound a little strange, but there's a lot of healing just in sitting with these drums. Okay. Bonjour. Annie bonjour to all you Ojibwe. Tansef to all you Cree. And Wajir to everything in between. My GST name is Daniel Sakchekapo. Come from Wiagano Lake First Nation. My real name is Wabshko Digatuto, one who hides a white heart. Wabshkemakudodan, I come from the polar bear clan, and the other name that carries me is Wabshkemaka, polar bear. And I just wanted to start off by saying that I was born here in this city, in the Keller Hospital. And back in 1984, December 29th, 4 days after Christmas. That was where I was born. And I had a mom who was single, sort of single, because she had a boyfriend every other weekend. And I'm actually, it sounds like a joke, but I'm actually being serious. She had a boyfriend every other weekend. So I had lots of stepdads. But there wasn't a guy that was there long enough until she met a white guy by the name of Rick. And I was too young at that time, but that was who I thought was my dad. My dad was Rick. And as far back as my memory can go, I remember my dad beating up my mom severely a lot. And so then when I this doesn't even move that far. Put this in my pocket. Oh. So my dad, who I thought was my dad, like I said, he hurt my mom a lot, and I used to witness the beatings. After a while, I became a part of them too, meaning that afterwards, I was about 2, 3 years old. He was starting to beat me up now. And one memory that I have of my dad was he was beating her up pretty badly, and I was just a small, tiny little boy. I was like just tiny, and I went crawling behind the couch, and I wanted to protect my mom. I wanted to. I thought of my dad as a bad person, and I didn't really like my dad, even though he wasn't my dad. But at the time, I thought he was. So then I went behind the couch and I waited for him to, stop beating up my mom, for the opportunity to come and bite him. So I went behind the couch and then I went right there. Bit his leg. Eh? Felt so good, eh? Little polar bear, eh? And then he knocked me back. I remember that because I got hit and I was like, just my brain was rattled a little bit, and then he picked me up and then he threw me across the room. And he finished with my mom, and then he left. So afterwards, I remember my mother sitting next to me. It was a bit fuzzy after that, but my mom was sitting next to me on the couch. And she was crying. She had bruises, and her hair was messy because he ripped a lot of it out. And she was crying, saying, "Ooh, we're gonna leave Daddy." And I really wanted to. I wanted to get the hell out of there, eh? Like, I didn't want to live like that no more, eh? Not like even as a little kid, kids know. Kids know, A lot of us try to protect our kids, but they know. But after that, I remember that day, I got a little toy ring. And in my mind, as a kid, right? Imaginations and all that other stuff. I knew in my heart and in my spirit, in my very being, it was a magic ring. That was a magical ring. And I tried telling this to my mom, and I wasn't really as verbal as I should have been. Like, I still baby talk, but she got the gist of what it was saying. And I said, I'm going to protect you with this ring. I'm going to beat up Daddy with this ring. Eh? This ring is going to protect us. That's the first day that I stopped believing in magic. Because she looked at me and she said, "That's not a magic ring. That's just a toy. You're too small. You can't help me." And she crushed me that day. I was crushed. Not being able to have that hope that I could do something about it to help my mom. Because I love my mom a lot. And so I felt crushed. So after a while, the beating, like he came back and he brought chicken, and he was like, you guys know about that cycle of abuse, eh? How I'm sorry, I'll never do it again, and all this other stuff, and then they go back to drinking, and the same thing keeps going. Finally, there was one time he got my head and he put it under water, and I couldn't breathe, obviously, but I couldn't breathe, and he was holding it down there, and then I just pushed. I'm not sure if he let go or whatever, but I got my head up and I was crying and all that other stuff. And he told me not to cry, and So after that, apparently he said that he was going to take me away from her. So that was when she said, "Okay, I have to do something here. I have to do something." So she sent me off to my home, my real home. Wawiago Lake. Round Lake. That is where I met my older sister. I didn't even know I had an older sister. And my eldest cousin, we'll call him Q. And my grandparents, my grandma and my grandpa. My grandpa, for those of you who know him, he's a beautiful man. Joseph Sakchekapo. Very devoted Christian man, very light, delicate, just loves everybody. And then there's my grandma. I'm trying to think of a word. Very tough. Very, 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 very tough. And my grandpa never laid a hand on me, but my grandma, she, yes. I like the summer times because she would always hit me with shoes all the time, eh? But summer times, it's small shoes like this. Wintertime, for those of you from the north, obviously it's Sorels, right? That's why I didn't like winter all that much, eh? Because whenever I got in trouble, it was a big boot. It wasn't a tiny little shoe, eh? But that was my family. And my eldest cousin, Q, is my abuser too. He's my sexual abuser and my physical abuser. Emotional too, obviously, and psychologically as well. The first time that he molested me, I was probably about three and a half, I think. Very, very fuzzy. So I apologize if I don't have the exact, whatever, eh? But I don't know. I was 3 anyway. And for those of you here that have gone through a sexual assault, a sexual interference, a molestation, know exactly what I'm talking about when I say that the first time it happened, it hurt, but you kind of fall inside yourself. You go somewhere else. You kind of go inside yourself. And this happened for a long time. He used to do other things to me too. Most of the scars that I have on my body aren't from me, they're from him. He used to butt out cigarette butts on my back, on the back of my legs. One time on my hand, right here, and I know you guys can't see it, but right here. And he got in trouble that time, so then he decided afterwards to do it places where aren't visible. The cuts on my arms are from him, and he tortured me as a kid. He also tortured my sister, my older sister. And he would make me do things to her. He would make me beat her up, throw rocks at her. Sometimes he would choose a friend. I was his friend that day, she was his friend. We would throw rocks at each other. Sometimes when she was his friend for that day, she would have to do that to me. He would make us have sex with one another and just tortured us. So I can honestly say that I grew up with violence. And I became a very angry child. I was a happy kid. I was a very happy kid because, there was good things about my resort. We were poor. Holy man, we were poor. And, my cousin would have like a new little ray gun or something after their birthday or Christmas. There's me with a twig. People would have a hockey stick. There's me with a branch. Like we were poor. But it was good because it made me have my imagination just... I remember all I had was just a log, and I thought I was an astronaut and a cowboy and all this other stuff, right? And funny story, I once got spanked by, he was either a part of the band council or, I don't know. But do you guys remember He-Man? Yeah. I had these little shorts, and I was running around, and I taped little cardboard box here. That was my little shield, eh? There I am running in my underwear, little Indian boy, eh? Running in my underwear with this branch, and I'm like, by the powers of Grayskull! And all this other stuff, eh? And then this truck comes and spanked me, and I go home crying. But whatever. After a while, I was there until I was 8 years old. And until I got taken away. But like I said, Q, I still love him. I do. He's still my cousin. And I'll tell you why I still love him. But I was very angry. I got taken into a white family. And they treated me great. I had all the food I wanted. They even got me like toys and stuff. And, you know. But I was still sad because that's not my family. And that's the way that it is for kids in child family services, homes, and foster placements, is that even though that they're at a safe place, that's not my family. And they were a white family. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but, you know, it was just visible that, you know, it's like my mom. And it was a lot different. And a lot of people would probably think, oh, it's better. Well, no, because it was so different. I remember I dropped milk, and I thought I was going to get a beating. You know, it was like culture shock. Because it was like, oh, that's okay, sweetie. You're not going to hit me. You know, like, cool. But that was short-lived, because then I got to another placement, and then another one, and the feeling of that is like, okay, these people don't want you. Okay, you're getting comfortable. These people don't want you. You're getting comfortable, even though that's probably not what it was to the adults. To a small kid, that's how it feels. Foster placement. They don't want you anymore. They don't want you. So then I was able to go back in the care of my mom, because she cleaned up her act. She was no longer addicted to some of the things that she was addicted to. And she had a new boyfriend. And this one stayed as well too. Another white guy, very tall. Holy smokes, he was like 6'5". And he was a cab driver in Sulako. And the beatings weren't as bad, but he used to smack me around too for very stupid things. I remember I didn't want to watch a movie with him, and he smacked me around for that. He liked Star Trek, so I didn't like Star Trek. And so the violence was there. It wasn't as severe as Rick or Q, but the violence was there. And that was me as a kid. Like I said, I was always a happy kid, but I always had this rage inside me, and it came out at various different times. So, moving on, and grade 7 was the first time I experienced a lot of things outside me drinking with my older sister, because she moved with us too. And I went to my first party, grade 7, drank, smoked up, had sex, grade 7. And a lot of people are like, holy man, that's young. I'm sorry, it's a reality out there. There are kids having sex out there. And after a while, I was getting into lots of fights at school. I used to stutter a lot. And I remember there was this one white boy who his name was Jeff, who would always bug me on. And the teacher would be like, okay, Mr. Daniel Sakchekapo, are you present? And I'd be like, present. And then the whole class would laugh. So there I am feeling all ashamed, and then little Jeff would be like, praise ha ha ha. So I was like, one time, it was the last time I said, see you at recess. And at recess, I beat the living snot out of him. Yeah, he had a bleeding nose, he was crying, and I got suspended and all that other stuff. I went home and I got the beating and all that other stuff. But after a while, I was getting into lots of fights, and there was other people that I met like me. There was a guy by the name of Rial, a guy by the name of Nick, Brendan, Kyle. There was lots of guys. And we started our own little tiny youth gang. And we had electrical tape around our necks, but inside was a blade from a utility knife. So, all that. Well, they heard about this guy named Sak, because that was my nickname back then. Because my last name is Sakchekapo. People don't really know how to pronounce that. And they said that, okay, so we have Sak. Well, my name got recognized in the community of, I don't even want to call it community, but the wrong people. Because I heard about this young boy who, would always fight back. It didn't matter who you were. So I got recruited, and they make it look like such a great life. They say, okay, you want to get stoned? Well, here's some weed. Oh, don't worry about it, bro. It's all good. It's on me. We're bros, man. I take care of you. Oh, you want to get drunk? Come on, we're going to this party, man. I'll drive you. It's all good. You want to do female companionship? Come here. Take him in the room. They make it look so cool. They make it seem like this is my family. This is where I am now. This is my new family. It's only for a little time do they treat you like that, because afterwards, and I mean no disrespect to some of the elders that are in here, but you are someone's bitch when you're in a gang. Because after a while, it's not, here you go, bro. It's, this person owes me money. Go beat the shit out of him, otherwise I'm going to beat the shit out of you. I need this kind of a car. Go get it. Don't come back here until you do. Otherwise we're going to come find you. Oh, this is your new girlfriend? Yeah, well, I'm going to be with her tonight. And there's nothing I can do about it. Nothing. So that's, I went from one dysfunctional family to a very dysfunctional family, or what I thought was family. And I've hurt many girls. Because in that kind of group, young boys have to prove themselves, young men have to prove themselves by doing something for them. When it comes to women, they're sexed in. I've hurt many girls, and that's something that I've had to deal with, and something that I've had to forgive myself for, because I was just an angry kid. But, moving along a little bit, the last time that tall white guy beat up my mom or beat me up was when I was 15. Because I used to egg him on so that he'd leave my older sister alone and my little sister alone, leave my mom alone, or to come after me. So he came after me and book. I just couldn't take it no more. Well, I reached back and I gave him one good shot right in the face, and I just didn't stop. Kept going and going. I was on top of him, and I just kept going and going and going. Well, what hurt me was that when the cops came, because my little sister phoned the cops, my mom said that I was the one that started everything. So I was back in care. And when I went to an emergency placement, they, I just didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be anywhere, so I went off on my own. And there's loopholes, because I got my grandma to sign me out. And there's loopholes. So then I was on my own in the streets with that group. And I was free. I was scared. I ain't gonna lie. Back then I was scared of this, man. But now, I can honestly tell you, I was afraid being alone in the streets. It's like a different world. So this one time I was selling drugs and walking around Victoriaville Mall. I come across, can you stand up, my friend? Yes, you. This beautiful man right here, I would like for you guys to clap because he saved my life. And how he did was I was looking up and it said RMIC. I was like, what the hell is this? I was hungry, right? I'm on the streets, right? I don't eat that much no more. And I see donuts. And all you guys know about him and his donuts. He has lots of donuts for kids and youth that come in. And I'm looking in and I mean no disrespect, my friend, but I'm going to try to do your accent again, okay? All right. So I come in and I'm like, all right, donuts. And all of a sudden I say, bonjour. My name is Moffat Makoto. And he says, he started talking to me, and he's, like asking me where I'm from, if I'm, Mishki Gogumang and all this other stuff. I'm like, oh, wow. A black guy is speaking, I just not out. Wow. Oh. Finally, I'm like, hey, can I get a donut? He's like, yes, you can take plenty. So I got the donuts, I was getting food, I was about to go sell it, and then he stops me, and then he starts telling me about these bingos, right? And then he said, if you come volunteer at a bingo, you get Chinese food. So I was like, okay, right? I haven't eaten a long time, I get to meet more youth, sell more drugs, get more clients, get fed. Good. Well, I went over to a bingo and started to clean it up. I don't think you trusted me with the money at first, eh? No. But I started to get, clean up after the bingos and all this other stuff and, everything like that. Well, this man started saying things to me that I'd never heard before. Daniel, you're a good young man. Daniel, you're a hard worker. And at first I was like, what the hell do you want? Because in my life, whenever somebody tries to treat me good, they want something from me. So I'm like, what the hell do you want? So my guard was up. And he taught me a lot of things. I remember this, I'm going to do something a little graphic, and I apologize, but it's a part of the story. I remember my buddies came up in a car, and I went on the car and I started to go like this. Right? Just to make them laugh. And he said, Daniel, I'm going to do the Moffat voice again. Daniel, do you think you're a role model when, parents drive here and they see somebody here that's at the RMIC do that to a car? What if their daughter is here? So at first, I had that attitude like, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. I remember I tried to look for a job because I always wanted to live a legitimate life. I asked him, and I said, hey, can I use you as a reference? He didn't know I was homeless. Nobody knew that I was on the streets. Nobody knew what I was going through because I was always told to shut up, just like a lot of us were taught to shut up. So he didn't know. So I lost his business card and I phoned him and I said, hey, can I get your information again? And Daniel, if you're really serious about getting a job, you wouldn't have hung up on him. Thank you for putting up with my disrespect. So, that's one of the people that saved my life. One of the people. RMYC is a good place, and I learned a lot of things there, and it's a good place for Anishnawbe youth to go to. So parents, grandparents, tell them. Anyway, moving on, I went to the Indian Friendship Center one time on Cumberland Avenue to, go look for girls. Go look for girls, look for more people to sell drugs to. And I met this old woman sitting there doing arts and crafts with kids. And this is another one that helped me. She saved my life. I don't know her name, I wish I did. But I went walking up and I broke up a cigarette because I knew that much. I come from a Christian reserve. I knew that much. Something about tobacco is like cash, right? Here's some cash, okay, give me something, right? That's what I thought. That was my mentality back then. So I broke up a cigarette and I said, hey, I want my Indian name. She goes, no. And I'm not going to say the words because I want to respect. But I said, why the F not, you old bee? To a grandmother. And she didn't even get mad at me. She didn't give me that reaction of get the hell away from me. She just put up her hand on my chest right here and said, because there's too much hurt in there. Crazy old lady, what's she talking about? You ever been around somebody just so gentle that you can just feel their compassion for people? That's the exact same way that she was. And I sat down. The ceremony took about 4 hours. But one thing that's really vivid in my mind was that she said, I want you to open up your mind to your heart. What color is it? Some crazy old bag, right? I was like, okay. Closing my eyes, it's red. Picturing a red heart. She goes, that's right. Start singing this song. Like a heartbeat. So then after a while, it was this beam of light going down in a corridor, and this was what I was imagining in my mind. And I was walking down the corridor, and I see this tiny little boy, just all in the light, and he's just crying. He's balled up in a little ball, and he's just crying. And then I picked him up. It was me. I was a little kid, and I was holding myself, right? And afterwards she went, rah! I was like, well, I almost punched her, eh? She said, sorry, I forgot one part of the story. That heart that I saw, that red heart, it melted. All the redness came off, and it was this white heart. It was just beaming, eh? So that's when afterwards she went, rah! And I was like, oh, I almost gave her a shot in the face, and then she said, I'm sorry, you were going too far. I had to bring you back. She talked to me about things I never told anybody. I never told people, that I met along that I was molested as a kid, or that I was burnt, or cigarette butts, or cut, or anything, or about my first dad, my second dad, whatever you want to call him, right? My mom, some of the things that she did, and everything like that. But she talked to me about gangs. Holy man, it's like she's psychic, eh? Talked to me about sexual abuse. It's like, holy smokes. Talked to me about life. She even said, with those drugs, with that alcohol, if you were to have a tree, and if you were to give all those things that, do you think that tree would live? I was like, no. So why do you do that to you? She took my sight like this and opened it up. after that ceremony was done, she said, "Your name is Wamshikotegato. And you're from the polar bear clan." Reason why you're a polar bear is because polar bear are able to withstand the most harshest of weathers, and your entire life up until today has been one harsh weather. I was like, that's deep. She gave me my gifts. She gave me my colors. She said that, your colors is the 4 directions, right? She said, but not royal blue, black, and you'll figure out why when you're older. Okay. So I left that place, and it was like I was dragging something. But after that, it was done. I felt light. So I lived 2 lives. One was with Moffat Nkudo, because sometimes I would be sent to other First Nations to do like workshops and stuff. Because I also met a woman by the name of Sakchekapo at the Indian Friendship Center who also helped me in my journey. She saw potential in me. She said that, you have this ability to be able to speak. I want to utilize you, right? So she took me to Eagle Lake, Michigan, all these different places. It was awesome. Got to meet Don Bernstein. I was like, "Hey, Dad." But it was fun. It was awesome. So these workshops, I spoke about HIV, teen dating violence, and also did some things with the RMYC too. And they're broke. I remember I had to work for apples one time. That was my honorarium. But it was about how to stay away from guys like me at that time. How to not get sucked into that recruitment. How to be safe from people who, like the way that I was back then. And I decided to leave that group. These beautiful people that were inside my life made me realize that I'm not an Indian. They made me realize that Indian is different from being an Anishnawbe. I'm not an Indian. I'm an Anishnawbe. So I left, and I was hospitalized for 4 days because of it. They beat me up. I'm glad they didn't burn or cut this tattoo off, because that would have hurt. But the other one was burnt and cut off. I was hospitalized for 4 days. They kept on coming back. Kept on coming after me again and again and again. And finally I left. I left and I went to Winnipeg. I was 17 when I left Winnipeg. And there I decided to go to school. I was like, everybody in my life has always called me a dumbass, right? Except for these people. Moffat, Sam, that lady, some of the other people that I've met. Yeah, I'm not a dumbass. I'm going to go try it out. I just passed. Not just, but back then, I just passed with like a 50-something%. So I made it. But always D's all the time. So that did make me feel like a dumbass. However, I learned a lot of things in school. In that mature grade 12 diploma program that I took. Some stuff about residential schools, some stuff about 60s groups, some stuff about the acts, I was like, cool. This is good. This is good stuff to learn. I went to college after that. Paid for it myself. Because my community didn't want nothing to do with me. And I was on the honor roll. Nothing but straight A's. because I always knew that I wanted to work with youth, to help youth that grew up the same way that I did, that are in care, that are in gangs, that, have gone through some of those hurts that I've been through. Well, I was learning very slowly, but I was learning, I was growing up. Because then I started to understand the cycle. Because I had a lot of friends that were still drinking, and a lot of friends that, would talk to me about some of their stuff, some of their garbage, the cycle. And then it dawned on me one time, I had this thing in my mind of a chain. Oh, go ahead, that's okay, I'll wait.
He's the statement driver.
Sorry.
That's okay. Important call. So anyway, I was talking about, this thing in my mind of everything's like a chain. Hold on for a second. Like this. This is the way that I see my people. Like a chain. But I thought, okay, well, I can't really do this. I need to kind of go deal with my own stuff too, right? Here I am, all drunk over at a party, trying to be a counselor to everybody, eh? Well, you gotta stop drinking, you know what I mean? So I thought, okay, well, I gotta go deal with my own stuff first, right? So I decided to go confront, for the second time, my sexual abuser. The first time it wasn't a good confrontation because I beat him up. So I decided to go confront him in a gentle way. And what I did was, I said, Q, what you did to me was messed up. I was just a baby. How the hell can you do that to a baby? I look at some of these young boys here, and, like here in, I would never want to have sex with them. It's freaking disgusting. He was crying. He was saying, yes, I'm gross, I'm disgusting. He was the one emotional. Then he told me an uncle of ours did that to him. So, you guys know what I did to my uncle? Anybody want to shout or announce her?
Beat him up.
Beat him up. And I wasn't proud of it, but I did talk to my mom about it, my biological mom. And she said that, we'll call him Jay, Uncle Jay. Same thing happened to him. So I'm, ready to beat up the next guy. Apparently it was a guy by the name of Ralph Rowe who did that to my uncle. And for those of you, I'm pretty sure a lot of you know who Ralph Rowe is, but he's an Anglican minister, had 87 counts of sexual interference with young boys. And that's only the people that came forth. So there could be lots and lots of that chain still happening just from one guy. Well, then it got me to, learn more about residential schools, about some of the acts, about, because, I was in college and learning a lot, and that chain just always kept up with me. I could say with pride that my little sister and all of my little cousins, they trust me. They know that they're safe with me. In fact, I had a whole bunch of my nieces and nephews here yesterday swimming with me, and they love their uncle. They know that for a fact that I broke that chain. Well, I started to work more with youth, a little bit more deeper in counseling. I worked in Sulakaut as a youth center coordinator, Wasanabe worker, different things. And then I met a couple of medicine people and all that other stuff, and trying to find my way. And there's another man that's here, standing. Is that him? Merv, is that you? No, that's not Merv. Where's Mervin? Merv, big ones. Oh, there's his hand right there. There's this one teaching, and oh, come on, give him a clap. There was this one teaching that he gave me, and this was about 2.5 years ago. I tried to tell him yesterday that it helped me a lot in my life. No, not 2.5 years. No, I don't know. It was a long time ago anyway. So I tried telling him yesterday, but he was eating, so wasn't as attentive as. So there's this one teaching that he said where he said that everything that we go through. Do you remember this? Everything that we go through is like a sliver. Sometimes when you don't pull it out and you let that pus go, more slivers go in and it could be as big as a thorn. And that's always stuck with me. So I wanted to say miigwech for giving, for telling me that, because that really helped me with my own life. Because I had lots to deal with and all that other stuff, and especially with the sexual abuse, because sometimes Q would say things, and this is where that psychological comes in. He would say stuff like, "You're my little boyfriend," or "You're my little faggot," stuff like that. And that's where some of the memories came in. I heard earlier some people talking about coping skills, ways to cope. Carla with her presentation, very awesome, thank you. But he used to make me wash dishes. So I'd be washing dishes when I was a little boy. But he used to make me wash dishes naked. So I would never know when he was going to come and hurt me the way that he would do. And it was that fear of me standing there knowing that he's going to come and molest me again while I'm washing dishes. To this day, when I wash dishes, and this is a very easy coping skill, when I'm at the dishes, I'll grab a dish in my own kitchen. I could be alone in my house. And that's how I'll wash a dish. So another thing that triggers me is the smell of sweat. And the reason why I'm telling you this is because we have to know what our own triggers are. We have to learn that about ourselves. As painful as it can be, as painful as it can get, we have to learn that so that we can protect ourselves without having to always phone someone else. Very simple. Very simple to do. Is to learn yourself like that. So now I'm going to, what we call, engage the crowd. Put up your hand if you have a grade 8 education. I don't mean past and then move forward, like only have a grade 8 education. Almost grade 8? Oh, who's that? This right here, these tiny little scissors that I bought a couple days ago for the conference, is a grade 8 education. That's what that is right there. Grade 8. Or almost grade 8. This is a chain, symbolizes what's holding us down. Our own personal stuff, because many of us have been through what I've been through. Try to break that chain with that almost grade 8 education. Oh, come on, keep going. Okay. Almost through. So with a grade 8 education, almost grade 8 education, that's not going to help us, eh? You know what, I'm going to put it up there. That's not going to help us, eh? Who here has just a high school diploma? Isn't it? Don't look shy. You shouldn't have put up your hand then. With that high school diploma, try to help our Anishnawbe people by breaking that chain. Oh, the scissors broke. You owe me new scissors, eh? That's not going to help. Who here been to college or university? Come on. Seriously? Oh, who's that? Hi. Bonjour. Oh. Watch it. Try to break that chain with that university or college degree, diploma, whatever you have. Yeah. Whoa. Come on. Use your muscles. Come on, that's your bingo now. Yeah. Not even with a good pair of scissors, eh? With that university or college diploma or degree. Now, I'm not knocking education. Go out, get your education. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that education isn't important. It is. But what we need is the right education, the right knowledge. How many people here, except for some of you, I know you do, but how many people here know about the medicines? Tom Chisel, put up your hand. Right? Know what certain medicines are used for, like heart medicines. I spoke to someone yesterday about ginger root and strawberries. Okay, so how many of you know, let's say, how to bend wood? Yeah. How many of you how to do a snare? All right. How many of you, let's say, if you run out of diapers, know how to do that chewing moss that my grandma used to do? Oh, a few of you. Oh, not me, sorry. And, okay. Let's see, what else is there? How many of you know your language? Good. Okay, how many of you know let's say a couple of our stories, that Acts of Canon, that legend, that spirit of the legend keepers and all that. Lots, yeah. A few, I guess, eh? Yeah. Well, this is our education. Anishnawbe people, we were spiritual people. And don't think of it just as cultural or traditional. Because my grandpa is a Christian. But we need to put our hearts in the right place. We have to stop competing with one another. I've been told, I remember this one story that I was told at a Sundance, where this guy was wearing a Sundance shirt, and then he was walking through the airport, and same age as him said, "Hey, what is that?" I said, "That's my shirt. I just got it at a Sundance." "What is that? What is that Sundance?" "You know where I get my help from?" He puts in his back pocket. "This." And he showed him a Bible. Well, that Sundancer said, "That's good. That's good that's where you can get your help from. Sakchekapo, brother. I love you, brother." That guy went home, put his Bible back in his pocket, and said, "I love you too." Totally just stopped the confrontation from happening. Eh? We gotta stop being like that. You know? I'll feast wabaguni ikwe. You know? I'll conduct different ceremonies. And there are older people that say, "You don't know what you're doing. You're too young. You need to be at least 122 years old in order to do anything." We have to stop competing with one another. You know. So, I was going to ask Mrs. Dark, but she might get embarrassed. So I'm going to ask somebody tiny, somebody named Belle, to come up here, and with that Anishnawbe knowledge, right, about learning who you are. And you can be Christian and learn those things too, eh? It's okay. Creator put those medicines down here for us to use. This is heavy. I'll look at the price tag. I want to take it back after. So with that, try to break that chain. You know, Alfro, Uncle J, Q, me, you know, and all that other stuff, you know. That genocide that happened, you know, the hundreds of years of murder, rape, theft, and all that other stuff, residential school, 60s school, you know. Try to break that chain. Oh. You ready? Back.
Watch my fingers.
I know why it was so difficult for you, because you were trying to do a whole bunch at the same time. So these chains that hold our people down, they can be broken very easily. I've been able to deal with my own personal garbage I'm not someone's little boyfriend. I'm not someone's little faggot.